Monday night. It's Meld on Law Monday, and the guy you see picking around the corner is the HBC, Steve Spurrier. Guess where he is tonight? He's at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Well, there's a party going on. Wish I was there, but I'm here on hard against Sanders Bay here in Panama City working, while all the guys there are having a big party, and it's great. I'm sure it's fun. I wish you could be there. We'll have a couple of them on from Spurs Grand Grill. Happy birthday, the fourth anniversary for Steve Spurrier's Grand Grill. Spurrier's Grand Grill. What a great success story. Freddie Wehbe, who's in the middle of all this, will hopefully join us at some point. I can't be sure. We've got Shane Matthews coming up here at some point from the Gridiron Grill. We'll be getting him on. Quite a news day today, and sports. Florida signed a new commitment here. I'll tell you about in a second. Billy Napier had a press conference. We got conflicting reports on how good DJ Lagway is or isn't. We'll tell you about that, and we'll figure it all out right here on the program, as we usually do. I'm Buddy Martin. Program brought to you by Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and our good friends at Meldon Law. And I'm sure as soon as he gets back to this country in the next couple of weeks, Jeffrey will be there at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We'll go ahead and start the program. Shane's a little late in joining us. We'll update you on some of the news of the press conference today, what's going on, what we found out, all coming to you right here on this program. Tell your friends and neighbors. The Buddy Martin Show is now on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening. Welcome to the program. It's Buddy Martin time. It's time for the program as it is 4 nights a week. Actually, I'm here 3 nights. And, of course, Lauren Meadows joins you tomorrow night with a lowdown. And then I do Shane Matthews' show on Tuesday morning. Hope your week is going well. Well, I think I got some mixed news, but mostly good tonight for you, what we're hearing from the folks at practice today. We are very much anxious. We're all anxious about the injuries. That's the thing. Before we get there, let's just tell you there's breaking news. The breaking news is that Davian Gross, G-R-O-C, you got something out on this. The 2026 athlete has committed to Florida and 3 seasons with Lone Star High School. I'm just going to say it's in Texas. The running back wide receiver combined for 3,896 yards and 39 touchdowns, number 47 overall player in the class. So things continue to go well for Billy and the recruiting, and it seems like it's going well. Now, I can't decipher the injury program. I mean, everybody's got them. Every day we hear this guy and that guy, whatever. We understand. But we'll find out more about it because it's a day-to-day report. I mean, one day it looks like things are good. The next day it looks like it's not so good. And so we just have to wait and see where it goes and what happens and what the news is. And we'll give it to you as we get it. We told you one day things are good. The next day we hear he's not. Here's an example of that. Today the report was that DJ held out. That's the first one. We don't get to see that. We said, well, he said he was held out, and then we hear Billy saying on DJ, he says he had a great day today. I think he had his best day today. He took more reps today than he's been taking. He didn't participate in scrimmage, but he's setting all his numbers. There was a scrimmage on Saturday, I guess. So we don't know a whole lot of what goes on out there. So we rely on our experts. Except our experts are always in places like Spurrier's Gridiron Grille, which is where we'll find our friend tonight, if we can find him at all. Shane Matthews. Are you there, Shane?
I'm here, buddy. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. I can't see you, but that's okay. You outside Spurrier's Gridiron Grille?
I'm driving, bud.
Okay. All right.
I'm driving, buddy.
Okay, well, good. Well, thanks for joining me. How was the party tonight?
It was good. Hung out with a lot of the media boys in the media boy room, and food was outstanding. A lot of people here, they kind of had different reservations from starting at 5 o'clock till 9. Just left, but I think it was a pretty good night.
Freddie sounded very excited about it. He's going to probably join us here a little bit later on. For those who don't know, it's 4-year anniversary of Spurrier's Gridiron Grille. In your wildest mind, did you ever think, A, Coach would do this, and B, do you think it would be this successful? It's been quite a success story in the restaurant business, I'm told. Are you there,
yeah,
Shane?
I mean it's a great concept, and yeah, can you hear me? I don't know if this.
No, I'm hearing. I don't see. Yeah, I got you. Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, you're not going to see me while I'm driving.
Okay, I got your picture.
Yeah,
up.
it's a great concept, and obviously done very successful. There's a lot of businesses around the country that are closing down, but with Freddie, Wehbe, the team that they put together, it's must see place to go to if you're in Gainesville.
What was the crowd like tonight?
It was big. I mean, like I said, they have different shifts starting from 5 o'clock till 9 o'clock for people to come eat and do whatever they do. And like I said, I just hung out in the area with all the media guys, and we had a good time.
I heard a guy named Brendan Martin was hanging around there tonight too, as well. So,
yep, he was in there getting a free. He got him a free meal.
Yeah, I got a free meal. This Martin's got to get those free meals, So anyway, we're I don't know if you heard the earlier lead in, but I'm a little confused about the status of DJ. I'm not going to really focus on it too much, but I will say that you get two different reports. One that DJ didn't didn't play on the scrimmage on Saturday, and then we assume he didn't do much today. Then we get a notation at Billy's press conference said DJ had a great day today. It's like he had his best day. He took more reps than he's been taking. He didn't participate in the scrimmage, but hitting all his numbers. Balls coming out of his hand faster than ever. His career, I think he just obviously worked on the soft tissue of the calf. We're going to execute our game plan here, and he'll be modified for a while. But yeah, I wish we played Saturday, but we don't. Someone says, I think it was Mark. I believe it was Mark. Well, no, it wasn't. It was Edgar Thompson, who said, "Well, where would you be if you played Saturday? Where would you be?" He said, "We don't play Saturday." So anyway, that was that deal. So what do you make of all that?
I think it's typical coach speak. Probably. I wasn't able to go to the scrimmage Saturday. I was out of town. I don't think DJ participated at all, from what I've been told.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. So he did have a good day today, according to this report. Again, a few other things that you may or may not know about, we'll talk about tomorrow morning on your program, if you have me back tomorrow. LJ McCray was absent for the practice Thursday and didn't participate in the scrimmage on Saturday. He'd been sidelined with a lower body injury for the last week. The injury is not major, quote unquote. His status is currently week to week. I believe he's going to be back to participating in just a few weeks. Well, I mean, who knows? All these dings and things going on, it's kind of almost impossible to keep up with.
Yeah, I mean, it's football practice. I said on my show today, buddy, we cover the Gators, so it seems like we have a bunch of injuries here and there, but it's football, and you're practicing, beating on one another. You're going to have little dings here and there. I think every team in America is doing that right now. You just don't want those major injuries. I didn't even know about LJ till tonight. Someone told me that he was banged up a little bit, but should be ready to go in a couple of weeks. So, it's just that time of the year. People are going to get banged up.
Yeah. So did you see the poll today? AP poll again. Don't make too much out of it, but it was interesting today. It's a little bit different. And by the way, Tramel Jones getting a lot of buzz. We'll talk about that later, but he's apparently getting a lot of attention. The Gators 15th on the AP poll. Probably sounds about right now. You were being higher. It's first time since 2021 Florida's opened the season ranked. Can you believe that? They checked in at 17. That's what coaches poll. I know you don't believe much in preseason polls, but they do have Texas first, Penn State second, Ohio State third, Clemson, then Georgia. Texas is the number one team, but the underdog in the first game against Ohio State. First time that's happened. So what do you think about all that?
Well, I mean, I think we talked all summer long, the Gators, the way they ended the season, a lot of guys coming back. I think a lot of people figure the Gators have a chance to have a good season, but the problem is you're playing the Southeastern Conference, and it's what we talked about from SEC Media Days, where most people had the Gators around sixth in the league. There's 3 or 4 teams that everybody thinks are the dominant teams or have a chance to be the dominant teams in the conference this year. Time will tell. I think people look at LSU, Alabama, Texas, and Georgia are those main teams. And then you got, Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee, a few others that you could kind of throw in the middle of the mix. And you just got to go out and win games. That's we're going to see here in a couple of weeks, next month or so, what kind of football team we have. And, should be fun. We got a heck of a schedule, a fun schedule, and I'm looking forward to it.
Good way to look at. The Gators played number 1, number 5, number 9, number 10, number 19, number 21, and number 24. The SEC has 4 of the top 10 teams, including number 1 Texas. They have 5 of the top 13 and 4 of the 5 of the other. And what else got it? Anyway, they got 4 of the first 10. I know that. I think they got 6 out of the top 15. So. All right, Shane, I'm going to let you get out here early tonight, but not without saying good evening to our next guest here, and that would be Franz Beard, and we'll see what his take is real quick. Let you go. I don't know if you'll be able to hear him. I think you should be able to hear him, so let's see if we can grab Francis, come back to you.
Franz and I sat next to each other while we were eating tonight.
Really? Okay, well, you can swap lines, and Steve Russell's standing by, too, so let's see if we can get this guy first in here. Franz, say good evening, Franz, everybody. You're on the air.
Shane, seems like it's only an hour ago or so that I saw you.
Very true.
Good to see you again. As Shane just pointed out, this is the time of the year. If you're going to get banged up and beat up, this is usually the time to do it because, during the season, you're going to get it. And as long as they're not lingering injuries, as long as they're not the kind of injuries that cause you to miss 5 or 6 ball games, get them out of the way now. Guys get tougher during the season too. We always point out to how many guys get beat up and everything, but I think Shane and I were talking tonight, and we can't remember a single quarterback who ever missed a game because of an injury during Spurrier's 12 years here.
Yeah, Shane's played that card with me a bunch of times. It's an amazing stat, Shane. I think it's all that weightlifting you did, Shane, that kept you from getting hurt.
I think I was so small that I was very flexible. I don't know, Betty. I look back at my career. Obviously, it was a long, long time ago, and I'm thinking, playing at 170 pounds one year, 175 the next, and got up to a whopping 180 my senior year. I don't know how I didn't get hurt, quite honestly. But I just think doesn't matter what your body's like. I think some people are just fortunate and blessed, and I was one of those.
And to get rid of the ball quick, too. That helps a little bit, too. So, all right, Shaner, I'll talk to you tomorrow on the program. Appreciate you, and we'll catch up. And Shane Matthews, Matthews got his belly full of, what'd you eat tonight, Shane? What'd you eat tonight, Shane?
Well,
Steak?
I had some filet. I had some chicken marsala, some mashed potatoes. I had a nice salad.
All right.
And then I finished it off with some banana pudding and Jerry's chocolate chip cookies.
There you go. Can't be worse than that. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Good night. Talk to you in the morning. All right. All right, Shane Matthews there in France. I know you had.
All right.
What was
take
on
care,
your
guys. I
menu
don't know what's
tonight?
going
I
on
didn't
with
get. Some of us didn't get to eat that way.
Well, let's see. I had shrimp and grits. I had the chicken marsala. I had the braised short ribs. I had the Wagyu beef sliders, a little salad on the side, and some mac and cheese. Of course, Steve Russell went back for fourths last time I saw him. He had a plate piled higher than my hat.
Were you there, Steve?
Oh, yes, I was there.
Okay.
You weren't supposed to catch me there, Beard. Come on.
Oh, you lucky dogs. You ate big.
Sports
tonight.
writers and sports guys and free food. We're going to take advantage of the fare.
Yeah.
If you give us a buffet, you're going to lose money.
No doubt about that. Sure. Even to you, Steve. Thanks for coming aboard tonight.
Sure,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
Yep.
I just want to run this stuff back to you. We have a lot of different mixed messages from what happened in practice, the scrimmage, etc. We understand that DJ was held out Saturday, but it looked good today, based on what we're hearing. Also, breaking news: commitment from Davian Gross, I guess his name is, 2026 athlete. He's number 47 player overall. Guess that must be from Texas because he played for Lone Star High School. So more on that later. And Billy on DJ said he had a great day today. I think he had his best day. He said he took more reps. He's been taking the participated scrimmage, but he's hitting all his numbers. All right, he's in, he's out, he's back, whatever. How do you guys think practices are going to be going without knowing for sure who's going to be the quarterback?
Well, DJ Lagway is going to be the quarterback. The question is who's going to be the backup. And right now, everybody I've talked to says that they expect that in 3 weeks, Tramel Jones will be the backup. And there's a lot of people I've talked to on that, buddy. I'm sure Steve's talked to people with other opinions, but everybody seems to think that Tramel Jones is the real deal.
The biggest fan is I'll be on the show on Thursday. Jake Slaughter will be our guest on Thursday, and he is really high on him. He was asked in a presser the other day about Tramel Jones. I'm glad you asked. He said that guy is so impressive. He throws the ball well deep. He scrambles. He's smart. He knows the game. Steve, I don't know what you've been hearing, but I'm hearing good things about him.
I as well. And look, buddy, today you've got to have a good backup because let's face it, quarterbacks, not that they always haven't gone down, but they seem to go down more now for some reason than they used to. So having somebody, and we saw what happened with Florida in the past when they didn't have a great backup quarterback. No offense to who was there, but the offense suffered because of it a little bit. So I've heard great things about him. Good thrower of the football, smart player. And look, nobody except the people on the football team and the coaching staff know the exact health of DJ Lagway. That's the bottom line here. So you got to have somebody just in case, and he may fit the bill.
I guess the way you do it, friends, if you see him, you see him. If you don't, you don't. The other news was on Billy provided the recovery update of Trey Wilson, Dallas Wilson. He said they're apparently recovering nicely, the Wilson and Wilson law firm, and he praised, I can't help me pronounce this, Moise Tunkara and Vernon Brown. Tunkara and Vernell Brown's getting a lot of press. I saw a video of him. He's lighting it up. So, looking very, very good in that front.
But the one thing that the injuries do, and I asked this question of Billy today, the one thing that injuries do is they give your backup guys, if you're sold on your front line guys, and you're sold on them, you know what they can do, and they get dinged and miss some practices, it's not always a bad thing, because then these backup guys who would not get to work with the number ones are working out with the number one unit, getting the reps. And, Vernell is, Moise Tunkara is, Nashawn Montgomery is playing well from all accounts. And these three freshman wide receivers, along with Dallas Wilson, are just getting rave reviews. Everybody says they catch everything, comes to them, they can separate. And, one of the best things I heard today, talking with somebody, was they said VB3 can flat out block. Well, guess what? If you're going to play for Billy Gonzalez, you better know how.
Exactly right.
That's true.
That's
very
true.
true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hesitate to say I'm really optimistic, but I'm optimistic. This guy here is optimistic. The thing joined the program. He fed you guys for free tonight. He's in his car going home too. If we can see that, somewhere in that darkness is Freddie Wehbe. If he has inside lighting, that would be great. And he was your host tonight, and I hear great things. Freddie, can you hear us? Hello, Freddie. Can you hear us? I don't think Freddie's hearing us right now. So, all right, Freddie, try us back when you can hear. I'll get your ears on. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So, by the way, that guy is remarkable. He is really some kind of smart. What he has done there in that restaurant is amazing. I was talking to him today, and I was telling him, I've been with you since day one when you started this thing. Even back when we were trying to decide menu items, I gave him a couple of my ideas, and I've seen this restaurant grow. It didn't happen by luck. He did a tremendous amount of research. I mean, tremendous. He went around to celebrity restaurants all over the country. In fact, I lined him up with my friend out in Denver, who is a partner with John Elway in Elway's restaurant. He visited with him. He went around to a lot of places. He did tons of research on what people like to eat. I would dare say, I hope Freddie wouldn't mind me saying this, that he spent $1 million in research. Let's see if he can hear that. Do you hear me, Freddie? No, he still can't hear me. Okay. Can't hear you. Try again. All right. So anyway, it didn't happen by accident. And to say, if I told you 5 years ago, Steve, that, Steve Spurrier is coming back to be the ambassador, we're going to name the stadium after him. And by the way, he's going to have a really successful celebrity restaurant. What would you say, Steve?
No shot. No chance.
No chance.
And I'll tell you something else to your point. My mom, whose name is Madeline, owned Maddie's Diner for a long time where I grew up. So I saw, now it's not a restaurant.
Yeah, but it's food business. Still the food business.
Still the food business. I saw firsthand what had to be done, decisions made on the food, hiring, cooks, all of that. And that was on a very small scale. And if you'd have said to me, Steve Spurrier would have a restaurant like that, I would have thought you were crazy. But, guys like Freddie Wehbe made that happen. Coach Spurrier bought into it, and it's become, the place to go. It was so much fun tonight to see, our guys and see the ball coach and, Chris Doring and, Franz and I were there and Shane was there. It was a lot of fun, and it's been a terrific 4 years for that place. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
There's a guy about your dinner, if he can hear me now. Freddie? Freddie, can you hear me? We just aren't going to be able to get you, Freddie. We're here. You'll have to try it again. All right. All right. So great night for Spurs restaurant. You're right. No shot of that happened, Steve. And first of all, to get Steve Spurrier to sit down long enough in one place. When I did my first interview for the book on Spurrier, first sit down long interview, it took me months to get it in Columbia. I went to his house. I sat down, and I sat down with Steve for 4 hours on the first interview. People don't know we do lots and lots of interviews. And when he got done, Jerry told me That's the longest I've ever seen Steve sit one place since I've been married to him. So the fact that he would get involved, and he is involved. I mean, he's involved in. He doesn't try to tell Freddie what to do, but he does. He does come and welcome people. We do have the menu items there. The Johnson City tomato sandwich. You ever had that, friends?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And things of that nature. I would say my go-to is probably the steak, but there's the shrimp and grits. You say you had shrimp and grits, France?
I did.
Yeah, that's really good there. Steve, what did you say you had?
I had a little bit of everything, a little smorgasbord because there was so much good stuff. I'm really partial to what happens on the weekends.
Okay,
when they have the buffet, it's just.
I've not tried that yet. I got to try that.
Got to try it, buddy. It's great.
Yeah.
Really good.
All right, so I don't think Freddie can hear us, so I apologize. I hope he'll butt in when he does hear, because we can't hear him. Let's talk a little ball right now. It's easy to get over our skis on things, friends. It's easy to think about, especially you and me. We start looking at the team. I'm not going to let these little dings deter me from what I think is the right analysis on his team, because they are not just good. They are very, very, very good. And certainly the bounce of the ball will determine a lot. As I said in my column on the weekend, please don't start your sentence on Florida with, well, if DJ Lagway can stay healthy. Like I said, everybody in the league can say that. Well, if Nussbauer can stay healthy, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, you need to have your best quarterback out there. And, of course, you're hoping you get him on the field most of the time. Maybe he won't play 12 games. Maybe he'll play 9 games. But I think in some form, I think what Billy's doing, friends, he's figuring a way around to patch that in, to use the other quarterbacks really need according to the down and distance. And maybe play multiple quarterbacks when he's hurt. What do you think?
Well, I think what he is really planning to do, if possible, you got Long Island. I wouldn't expect DJ Lagway to play more than the first quarter against Long Island. They're not a good football team. They're not going to, if Florida is held to less than a 40-point win, I'd call that, a moral victory for the Fighting Sharks, who used to be the Blackbirds and the Pioneers before they merged. How you get a blackbird? How do you get a shark out of a blackbird and a pioneer? I don't know.
Explain that one.
Yes, indeed. And C.W. Post is from over in your neck of the woods.
Yep.
Steve, I mean, they had a guy named Gary Wishard once who could play a little football.
Yes.
But and then you got South Florida. Now South Florida is a step up, but they're not going to be that good. They shouldn't be that good. That's another game. Does he play more than a half? Probably not. So you can space him out in those first 2 ball games. And then the other thing that you can do during those 2 ball games, you can start really jamming the ball down people's throats. And you can make that running game so good in those first 2 ball games that people are going to have to come in there and figure we got to stop the run. And that's going to open things up for him. I mean, my gosh, you've got so many weapons that there are ways you can space things out and make it easier on him. But it starts with establishing the running game. It starts with forcing teams. Everybody is scouting because of video 5 and 6 games in advance. They're going to have their game plans in it, and so you can actually make a case that DJ's load will get lightened if they can have 2 really good games in the beginning and can get that running game established.
Everything, and if you study that offense, like we have studied it over the last couple of years, from the first out the bat, was built around the running game. It's really that running game that has to work to have play action, which is what drives the offense. The tight ends are a very big 12 personnel. That obviously gives you max protect and also gives you some short tosses, chance to get rid of the ball. So I think he's got the offense build that he wants. Now, the running game, I mean, my gosh, could you ask for anything more than what you got in the running back room, France?
Well, I don't think that there's a team in the SEC that's got a better 1-2 than Ball and Jacoby. And I was told that KD Daniels just kind of stole the show, helped steal. What didn't exactly steal the show? Ball was tremendous, but I understand that KD Daniels, when he was in there, really, really had a brilliant scrimmage as well. So that's another one. You look at this, and you've got weapons, and they're all different type of runners, which is the part I like. You know, Steve, I guess I'll throw this at you.
Sure.
We had Lorenzo Hampton, we had Neil Anderson, John L.
Williams. Yep.
3 extremely different type of runners.
Number one picks, all of them.
Yep.
All 3 number 1 picks, but all 3 different type of runners. And Charlie Pell, and then followed up by Galen Hall, could really alter what the other team's defense could do, because you couldn't really prepare for the style that all 3 and what he could do with all 3. So I think that this is kind of reminiscent of that time when you had those 3 guys.
I agree. And I also think, guys, this is good for Billy Napier in terms of the fan base. I mean, look, you have to win games. We can talk till we're blue in the face, but now what's going to matter is how many games do you win, how many games do you lose. That's the bottom line when all is said and done. But at least now a fan can look and say, we can match up. We've got people now. We have players now that can match up in most places on the team with, the rest of the SEC. And the fact that there's 10 SEC teams in the top 25, in the AP top 25, you can have a really good team and be 8-4 or 7-5.
Yeah.
And you can be really good, but depending on your schedule and the break you get that day. So, look, I mean, I think we all like Billy Napier, but I'm just hoping he did it the old-fashioned way. He didn't whack the portal. He built through high school recruiting and added pieces in the portal. They obviously know talent. Health is a big part of this. Let me throw one other thing out. Why in college? I've always wondered this. Jake Slaughter's an example, fellas. Okay. He's pretty good, right? We all know he can play.
He's great.
Why don't they sit him out? They do it in the pros all the time, right? This quarterback's not playing. The starters aren't playing this week. And I get it. You're 22 years old as opposed to being a 5-year pro. But, how many reps do you really need if you're that caliber of player risking injury? And somebody brought that to my attention yesterday, and I really hadn't thought about that. But it's an
you mean you sit him out the season or a game?
No. In a practice, in a scrimmage.
Well, Billy kind of addressed that today, France. And they said, would it be better for players to sit, or would it better get the reps? And he said, anytime you're a football player, get the reps.
Yeah, but that's not what the NFL does.
No, I'm just saying this is what he is.
Yeah, he was talking about the quarterback, though. He was talking about
in that particular instance, yes.
Yeah, in this particular instance, and yeah, your quarterback, I've grown to understand one basic thing: there is no position in all of sports. There is no singular position in all of sports as important as quarterback on a football team.
No question.
And your quarterback on the football team, he's got to be the leader. He's got to be the guy that sets the offensive tone. He's the guy that has to be the playmaker. He's got to be, for lack of a better term, he's got to be the Swiss Army knife, because he's got to be everything to everybody. And he's got to get the reps. And he's got to, because if your guys don't have 100% confidence in that quarterback, I remember Urban Meyer, shortly after he was here, and you were at that press conference, I know you were, Steve, when he said, give him 10 minutes and he'll figure out who doesn't trust the quarterback and who the quarterback doesn't trust.
That's right.
And that's why the quarterback's got to get the reps, because that left guard's got to look up at him and say, okay, he's got it. You know, that wide receiver's got to look at him and say, my guy's got it, etc. And if they don't have it, and if he doesn't have it in them, that's the other thing. It's a two-way street. GJ's got to get in there, and he's got to know, for example, that Najee Harris, if I call a certain play, Najee Harris can block my guy. But if I call the other play, if I call this other play, he can't do it. So I've got to go someplace else on a play that has come in from the side. So
yeah, I should have interrupted you. I wanted to say that Slaughter talked. I heard an interview with Slaughter earlier, good last week. I'm having him on Thursday again on my show. And he said a really brilliant thing. He talked about how long he would play in a game, meaning just what you're talking about. Maybe he'd go play a quarter and a half, and they could sit. And he says, sometimes I want to stay longer, but I look at my offensive line, and they have to stay as long as I'm in there. And I think of it, if they feel guilty, they can't sit, you know, and I feel like guilty coming out. This kid's so smart. I'm telling you, he's amazing. He's a brilliant kid. I can't wait to get him on Thursday. But and the other thing I want to say, and Lauren's going to join us in a second, Jaden Ball. I didn't know this. This guy can do everything. In addition to being, you know, I've been a Jaden Ball fan from day one, as many of you know. No, Lauren knows about it, and I know he can do a lot of things. And I said when I saw him, holy mackerel, this guy's big, and he can run and he can cut. He can cut, and he's got move speed. He's got every power. Now we found out he's the strongest guy on the team. And today, you know what Billy talked about? Jaden Ball's ability to run routes, how good he is. Wow. Lauren Meadows, that's scary.
Yeah, he's you know, every bit of the Swiss Army knife. I mean, you saw some of that with what they were able to do when he was, you know, kind of getting out the backfield. Saw the screen pass against Ole Miss.
Let's see why we lost Lauren. Are you there, Lauren?
Yes, sir.
There
Okay.
he is.
You got me? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you know, when he caught the screen pass against Ole Miss, and everybody says, well, that's tough to catch a screen pass. No, I mean, it's easy. No, it's not. You know, you gotta get it. You got to turn. You got to find the blockers. You got to get north and south, and he's able to do that. And I think he's just one of those guys that, you know, just somebody that the nice blend of strength, speed, balance, and, you know, being able to catch the ball in the backfield. He'll step up and strike you if you blitz. So he's somebody that, you know, the Gators can depend on all three downs and can be effective. And, yeah, I mean, when you hear that, you know, a kid like that going into his second year is a willing worker, great weight room guy. I know they had some concerns, you know, through the offseason, how he was handling some things. He seems to have corrected that, and that's the leap you want to see guys take in that second year. So you combine that with what many think is a generational talent at quarterback and what they've got on the edge, on the outside there. I mean, and Ball's the key. And then you bring him with a guy like Jacoby Jackson and, you know, Daniels. Yeah, I mean, and if Wehbe could ever get healthy, how special he is. But, I mean, just a great group of offensive players, and Ball's at the top. I mean, pound for pound, strongest guy on the team. And I mean, when you start talking about guys like that, and you guys know, you covered them. Now you're talking about the Herschel Walkers of the world, the Bo Jacksons, where they were the pound for pound, you know, just outright, you know, alpha dog, you know, in the weight room and on the field. And I mean, that's going to carry. And we all know, for as much as made for DJ Lagway, with that offensive line and with what's in the stable at the running back position, they're going to run that football. And, you know, and I think that's something they'll be able to hang their hat on, and Ball be at the center of it.
Let me do this spot, and Steve, I'll get your final comments and let you go, because I know I promised to keep you a short period and kept you longer than love having you on. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to abuse your privilege.
It's okay.
Tell folks about our friends at Meldon Law. Freddie's on his way back here in about a week or 10 days. It's a fabulous trip. We're going to have him on, have him tell us all about it. I know Franz talked to him when he was in Portugal or where he was. And Freddie's just loving it. And he's also relishing this idea of celebrating the national championship in basketball. And the big news was dropped yesterday that Meldon is going to foot the bill for replica rings of the national championship in basketball for that game. I think it's the 21st of November, I believe. It's against Merrimack. And if the first 10,000 people come into that game will get a replica of the championship ring, which is really cool, I think. And so if you're interested in that, look on site and look at Florida. It's a Florida event. Jeffrey's paying for it. And you're going to get yourself one of those championship rings, and you can't beat that. And hopefully shortly after that, there'll be a book out by somebody named Franz Beard called the Golden Season. What a weekend to celebrate. Football, Tennessee, whatever. Meldon Law, they do it all. And looking forward to having dinner with Freddie soon. Freddie Wehbe, with Jeffrey and Freddie together to celebrate. All right, guys, let's get back to the subject at hand. Steve, I'll give you your last shot.
Yeah.
And give your final wrap up on your thoughts about the Gator football team.
I want to end about Lagway.
All right.
And here's the point I'm going to make, and it's going to sound like I'm knocking the kid, and I'm not. But if you took his name away, if you took his physical stature away, correct me if I'm wrong, 12 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions. I believe that's the number last year. Okay. That's not bad, but it isn't like he threw 35 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. So he had work to do. There are things in his game he needs reps for to get better at the short game, to throw the short pass better, to learn the nuances. We all know he can throw the ball. He's a terrific long ball, accurate thrower. But he needs improvement, I think we'd all agree, in the medium to short passing game. So when people talk about the reps he's not getting, that's what would concern me, that he's not getting reps for those kinds of things that he needs to get better at because he has all that talent around him. And I think his improvement is going to be, at least in my mind, at least partially judged by how well he improves in those areas. And I just wanted to make that point because, I mean, look, he's being compared to Tim Tebow and all that, and I certainly understand, the potential this kid's got. But, let's just be realistic here. He was good last year. He showed great flashes and promise, but can he do it now and carry a team that's not going to be ranked in everybody's top 25 and go through that murderous SEC schedule? What leap does he take? And that's why I wish he would have more reps because of it.
Valid point. I'm going to say, leave you with this. Other than the fact that we saw how well he could throw deep, when you saw this kid early on and you watched him, what was the one feature that you saw that really got you to say, this guy can do it? I'll tell you mine. Way back in 1964, there was a guy who played a quarterback for Alabama, and they said, this guy gets rid of the ball so quick, he's going to get a big contract to play in the pros. His name was Joe Namath. All right?
It's pretty good.
If you look at how this kid throws the ball from behind his ear, and I know you know this, Lauren, he didn't reach back and a long throw. He throws like a dart. And his accuracy and he's been great. Now he's realized that the corners he's throwing against are a little faster than the ones in high school. But to me, Lauren, that makes him outstanding. When you got a quarterback who can read and react and throw a ball that quickly, it's a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. The quick release kind of leads to what impressed me was I go back to a couple plays. I think it was a key third down against Ole Miss, where the best pass rush at the time in the SEC was bearing down on him, and he resets, gets his feet. I mean, maybe not resets, but moves and then, they're on him, ball goes to the left, eyes remain downfield. He flicks a pass to Elijah Badger, who makes somebody miss, keep playing the game. They end up going down and scoring. Earlier that year, if you remember the throw for Chimera DK to tie Tennessee, send the game in the overtime, similar thing. Definitely not the first read, secondary read steps up, but the eyes stay downfield. And in a moment's notice, boom, DK comes open, hits him right in the grill for the tying touchdown play. That's what impresses me the most, where guys tend to look at the rush, quote unquote, see ghost. I think he has shown an ability to be calm and keep the eyes downfield. And when he is attempting, nobody's perfect when you reset the feet, but when he's moved off that spot, the eyes stay downfield. And because he does have the quick release and the ability to get it out, he can get it to guys in that secondary read area. And the other thing is, and I've said this a million times, I don't know how fast Lagway is, but what I do know, at that size, you can still be a potent run threat. Mm-hmm. And what the Gators have yet to tap into is his ability with the feet. Yeah. And, to be interested to see with a whole sample size and that running game as that key component, where he'll fit to kind of, force a defense to account for his legs, in certain situations.
Right. I told you I gave him out here. Franz, give me a 30-second on anticipation of when he throws. That's a big part of his game.
Well, what I got that impressed me so much was he can make a bad throw and flush it. He does not tend to dwell on something he did poorly. He tends to flush it, and it's on to the next play. All the great ones do that. And all the potentially great ones do that. I'm not saying he's great yet. And I'll point out, like Steve, he's really good. He's got the potential. But the fact that he can flush it tells me that he's probably closer to being great than he is closer to being just good.
All right. Let's go ahead and see if we can just Steve, you're welcome to stay if you can. But I just don't know if you want to stay, we'd love to have you. But if you have to go, I understand.
No, I can stay for a little bit.
Good. Let's get a discussion going on. All right, so we haven't talked at all about the defense, and I wrote tonight in this thing that I do for for the show, a promo to describe it, that if you didn't have Lagway all the time, let's say he was spotted, and let's say he played the equivalent of 8.5 or 9 games, and then to rely on other parts of the game. You do have other elements there, and you have an offensive line that is really going to be terrific. You have tight ends that are really going to be terrific. You have young wide receivers. I'm hearing Vernell Brown's just burning it up right now. These young wide receivers are going to be amazing. You have the running game going, and you have a better defense. And friends, the creeper is creeping up.
Well, the idea of the creeper is to make the other quarterback and the offense, those two tackles, see ghosts. They've got to see something coming that isn't there. And last year, when the guys really got the hang of it, and we saw that, for example, in the LSU game, that was the first time I thought that whole defense really understood what they were doing. And I've talked to some people who are familiar with the creeper Dave Aranda uses it and everything. And most people say it takes a good year and a half to understand what you're doing. And they had it the year before under Austin Armstrong. And then, of course, they picked up that half-year point. That's when Ron Roberts took over. So the defense, and I'll make another point, and I'll use something that Steve and I both have seen. 1984, you got Kerwin Bell, walk-on quarterback. So how do they make Kerwin Bell the SEC quarterback of the year? They shortened the game by just pounding the ball away. They let him, when everybody's drawn in close, they let him throw the ball, wing it down deep down the field, and that team was the best team record-wise in Gator history up to that point.
They had the Great Wall also.
Yep, you can do that maybe this year. That might be one of the strategies this year is to shorten the game, make the defense better, because that was a good defense, but it was a better defense because they shortened games like they did.
Yeah, I guess you could. What do you think, Steve? Is that a solid philosophy?
Yes, it is. I mean, look, Lauren kind of touched on it. The quality of depth at the running back position, not just one guy. It isn't like you've got one dude there. When they're all healthy, you can rotate in and out, and you don't lose a heck of a lot. And I think this is going to be Florida's best offensive line that Napier's had. So, yes, to Franz's point, you can shorten the game if you need to. And that's what makes an offense good. I mean, when you have different ways to beat somebody, then it's tough to prepare for you. How do you prepare for an offense that, has quality running backs? The receiver room looks to be really good. The offensive line, Jake Slaughter and company, and then an emerging talent in Lagway. If I'm the defensive coordinator in a room, I'm watching a lot of tape and trying to find some weaknesses because there's not a lot.
Not a lot. It's a great point. It's a great point. There are not a lot of weaknesses. Let's address that. If you're attacking Florida, going to play Florida, how do you attack them? What's the weakness? You're going to try to run the ball down their throat? They got something for you, I think, probably there. Try to throw it deep. I mean, what do you do? Lauren, how do you attack this team if you're playing them?
If I would have Florida, I would spread them out and I would force them to play in space. I would find out if they have improved in tackling in space. So I would give them a lot of eye candy, and then I would spring it to the perimeter and see if they could tackle me, because the two things that they have at least fell prey to, well, really three, but let's just say two, is they fell prey to kind of their eyes don't always believe their eyes. And they find themselves looking up in the trees where the squirrel is down on the ground. That's one thing. And so that's where you find that guy coming out the back door and you're like, where'd he come from? Well, he's wide open because they didn't read their keys. And then two, if I had that person, a quarterback that can force them to play him, I would make, they have struggled with mobile quarterbacks, guys that can move and create some havoc on the perimeter. So if I had that, that's what I would do. But I would definitely throw a ton of eye candy at those linebackers and those secondary guys and try to confuse them and hit them with some jet action boots, different things like that, and force them to play disciplined football.
Friends, they got to tackle. They've proven they can do that better now. That's a big thing. I think the young, I'll ask Steve about this also, the young linebackers are really an unknown.
Oh.
Those guys are really good, and I think that's going to surprise a bunch of people. What I don't really know is about the back end, and I don't know much about that, and you can speak to that, so can Steve. I know with Kamani McLean certainly been a big surprise. The safety play, I think they got 4 safeties they think can play, but they don't know for sure. What do you think, France?
I think that he's got young talent, and he's never shied away from saying he's got the talent. The one thing they don't have is an overwhelming amount of experience, and that's going to be, he's got 4 guys with experience. Let's put it this way. What he doesn't have is 4 guys behind them with experience, and that's going to be critical. Can they stay healthy? Can these young guys, when they rotate in, can they grow up in a hurry? I think this defense is going to be really good. And last year, you got to remember something. Last year, the year before, they had 22 sacks. Last year, they had 39. If they can get 39 or more sacks again this year, we won't worry about the back end too much.
Interesting. I don't know, Steve, how would you attack them?
Let me piggyback on what both those guys just said, because they made great points. Go back to Arkansas and Jefferson. right? That game, to me, epitomized what Florida didn't do well defensively. The points that Lauren brought up and Franz brought up too, that a mobile quarterback. Now, look, mobile quarterbacks give a lot of defenses trouble. Let's face it. That's why they're good. But Jefferson didn't do a whole lot against many other teams, but he hurt Florida with his legs and, throwing the ball a little bit. So I think if there's a weakness here for Florida, it's the weakness. It's the back end. Are they going to be really good in coverage? Because if the defense can get to the quarterback, make him throw the ball a tick early, and they can cover well, that creates turnovers. But that's the area I agree with Lauren that I think this defense has got to show it's better, because mobile quarterbacks hurt them. And again, they hurt a lot of people, but they have to be a little more disciplined.
Yeah, Lauren, I think this is where your creeper comes in. If you know you got a vulnerable defense, one of the good things about it, it's kind of like it's not the first time this defense has been out there. People have been running it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
When you got 7 guys up front and you can send anybody anytime, obviously your defensive line, you don't know when and where they're going to come from.
All right.
Then you fire a corner every now and then, the safety blitz every now and then. Now you suddenly have something else to deal with, unless you're an experienced quarterback. You could get burned there, but I think if I'm facing this defense, if I'm facing Florida, if I can't run the football on them, I'm going to go to play action. Of course, you got to be able to run it. I'm going to go to try to find a vulnerable spot somewhere. And I believe that with the defense Florida has, that multiplicity and firing from different spots, which is my version of the creeper, is the way to go. What do you think, Lauren?
Yeah, and it's their versatility. It's guys like Gums. It's guys like L.J. McCray. It's guys like Miles Graham, Cameron James, that have the ability to play multiple positions and fill multiple roles. They can drop, they can rush, they can cover a little bit. They can do things that then allows you to be creative. It allows you to spy when you bring guys and different things like that. Cameron James could be a guy, for instance, when I was coaching, we had a defense where, the nose tackle was actually responsible for draw and screen. And he would be the guy to disrupt everything because we were firing guys and different things like that. So you have these versatile guys that can run. And this is a defense that the second half, and the staff admitted it. I talked to several of the defensive staffers. They were not connected. In this creeper defense, because you have guys coming from everywhere and different places, you have to know, okay, where are we vulnerable? So that's how we play on the string. If I blitz, you got to get to the flat, those different things. And this is the defense, I think the last 4 games showed us that they are starting to understand the connection between the pressures that can make the creeper what it is, and then the roles that the people on those secondary and third levels play. So, yeah, I think it's the versatility. When you talk about guys, you look at a guy like Castell, who has the ability to get down in the box and play. And because they do have so many safeties that can fill different roles, they can go dime against certain people and still be stout against the run. And I think that's that versatility that's going to really, help this team get to the next level. Because if you look at Louisiana under Napier, when they had that success on defense, they had a lot of guys that filled certain roles in certain situations, and that's what made it a good defense. So I think they're getting back to that with the building of personnel, and I think there's an understanding amongst not only the players but the coaches involved that they're all on the same page now, and they're playing on a string now. And it should continue with what they have coming back.
All right, now my executive producer just said to me, don't go off air yet. The numbers are climbing pretty good tonight. You see there are quite the number of people watching. So he's asked to hold us over. If somebody's got to go, fine, but there are about 4,000 people would be disappointed if we did. So if you got to go, you got to go. But friends, add to what he said.
Well, they've got. He just brought up the name Sharif Denson. I love Sharif Denson. I really do. I love Aaron Gates if he's going to be healthy, and I think Bryce Thornton is another one. It's not an issue of talent; it's an issue of experience, and it's an issue of brought up about KJ Jefferson. Did you learn anything from that experience? This is a guy ran for 92 yards, threw for 255 in a game that Florida should have won by 3 touchdowns. No question about it. Florida should have won that by 3 touchdowns. As a result, Florida ends up with a losing season. And I think that one loss was the worst of all the losses they had that season. They were 5-7. But I gotta believe that was the worst loss that the Gators had that year. I look at that, look back on that, and so much of that had to do with guys who were inexperienced, guys that didn't understand the defense, what to do. There's not going to be an excuse this year. Yeah, I mean, I know there's some young guys back there, but even the young guys, there's not going to be an excuse to have a game like Arkansas this year. If there's a game like Arkansas this year, I guarantee you this fan base is going to erupt, and it isn't going to be pretty at all.
Yeah. All right, guys, did you see this? I'm assuming that you did all tonight. What that looks like and what do you think about it? Certainly, Florida's 15th, which is about right, I think. You don't want to see Florida too high. That's the AP top 25. A lot of people don't like preseason polls. I do. If you just use what they are, it's just to gauge whatever the temperature is out there. So if you look at that, what do you see? I see 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in the top 10 from the SEC. I see South Carolina at 13, so it gives them 5 of 13. Florida at 15, it gives them 6 of 15. So and then 18 is Oklahoma, so it gives them 8 of 18, 9 of 19, 20 of 21 with Ole Miss, and Tennessee 21 of 24. Is that right? What do you think, guys? What do you see there?
I see 3 teams at 11, 12, and 13 that I might bet for Florida to beat. But
okay.
I mean, if I had to
speak on that, go ahead.
I mean, you look at the body of work, you look at the level of play, and I mean, if I had to put it on neutral field for sure against Arizona State and Illinois, I'm not necessarily Florida. I'm not going out, maybe, but I guess I am saying that they're one of the top 12 teams. But I think if you look at, the last time we saw the Gators versus, I know Arizona State, but Arizona State, I mean, I know they got the quarterback back, but they lost kind of the heart and soul of their team. They're decent at receiver, but I'm not buying. I mean, I think South Carolina is not as good a football team as Florida. I think the quarterback itself is, I think quarterback's better. And Illinois, I mean, we'll see, I guess, because a lot of people buying Illinois in the Big Ten this year. It'll be interesting. I mean, obviously he does a nice job there, but yeah, I mean, I think that the polls are good for talking season. So I always say, if you had to bet your last ham sandwich, who would you bet on? Arizona State, Illinois, South Carolina, even Michigan with a freshman quarterback against Florida. And I think I bet my last ham sandwich on Florida. So that's what I think.
You know what gets me here, fellas, is forget Michigan, forget Arizona State. What's Florida going to do against those SEC teams? That's going to make or break their year. And Miami as well. Look, Florida, I don't think anybody questions that Florida is better, that Florida, I think, with its personnel and its talent, deserves to be ranked in the top 25. But now, does Florida get back to elite, not just nationally, but in our league? Because you can certainly say that, well, they're 15th, right? But Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, South Carolina are ahead of them. So by the poll, they're the 6th best team in the SEC. That team is probably not going to get to the playoff. And a lot of people are expecting Florida to at least make a run for the playoff. So I think now, great, top 25. Has there been progress made? Yes. But can this program now make the next step, take the next leap to where it's being mentioned with Georgia and Texas and Alabama? Because if that is the case, then Florida has arrived and will have certainly a shot at making the playoff. But that, I think, is next for Florida. Can they jump to the elite in their own league?
Valid point, France.
Yeah, no, very valid point. I'll point to 3 numbers here: 9, 10, and 19. 9 and 10. If Florida goes 0 and 10, the season is shot. If Florida goes 0 and 2 against those two, they got to at least split those 2 games, because you can't start out with 2 wins over cupcakes and then lose your next 2 tough games with Texas coming up, which we know is going to be good, but that's in the swamp. And then number 19, Texas A&M, which I believe will be Florida's toughest ball game to play. I really believe the Aggies at home, with all their ability they've got, and they got a lot of it. They're good early every year. They're bad late in the year every year.
Right.
And Florida gets them early. So to me, 9, 10, 19 are the 3 key numbers. Florida goes 2 and 0. Then we're in for a magical carpet ride. 1 and 1 is still possible. Beating the Aggies the week after Texas, because even if Florida beats Texas, which I think they can do, to have to go on the road to A&M the next week, that is the most brutal game of them all, right there. And I think it's the toughest game of the season.
Well, they're better, and if you look at a lot of people don't realize the size of the stadiums. You know what Florida is, and certainly, but the fact is that these stadiums that they're going to play in the largest stadium in the SEC, Kyle Field, is bigger than Neyland Stadium, and a lot of people don't realize that. You're talking about they're number 1, and I think they're 102,733 is Kyle, and Neyland's 101,915. So I don't think it's just the size of the stadium, but I think A&M. I think they're going to be better. They're going to be a better team, and I like their coach, and I like what they're doing there. So that's going to be a tough out. So you think, guys, that will be good enough to split the Texas teams, and you think it come out of 4-1 would be great, but they're not probably. So more than likely, they're going to be looking at the back half of the season with a couple of losses there, France.
You split LSU and Miami, you split Texas and Texas A&M, and you got a real shot at a 10-2 record.
Come back home to
you still got to play Georgia.
You
still got to play Georgia, which I think is more of a toss-up this year than any year since 2000.
Georgia's a hard team to figure out. I can't quite figure them out. I like their quarterback pretty well. I know he's not the perfect guy, but he's a baller. I watched that SEC championship game where they beat Texas, and he was a baller, and sometimes those injuries are a good thing, when you have to play another guy. And as we saw with what happened with Kyle. By the way, did you guys see what happened in him over the weekend in Tampa Bay? Did you watch that game?
Played very well.
He played very well. Yes, he did. And,
Branch, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You go. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying Branch at receiver for Georgia. That's a heck of an addition. Kid from USC.
Yeah, sorely needed by them.
Yes. They were there. Yeah, they were.
Nobody,
I mean, that's huge. And I mean, I think that, and I think Franz brought up a good point. I agree. It's kind of funny what I keep saying, and maybe, this is for another show. I think they are a 9-3 playoff team, but it's got to be the right 9 and the right 3.
You mean Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
with that schedule.
No,
with
you
that
said
schedule.
you said that before, and I've agreed with it before, and I agree with it now.
Yeah, 9-3, but it's got to be the right 9 and the right 3.
You want to pick out the 3?
I don't know. I don't know which 3 it is, really. I mean, if you go, I agree with friends. You can't go 0-2 in the Miamis, and I mean in the LSU Miami, and you can't go 0-2 to the Texases. You got to split those, and I definitely think you got to split split game 3 and 4.
Steve, can they do that?
Yes, they can do that. Look, if you go look at any team here in our league, just like we're doing tonight, right? You can say, well, LSU's got this, but they've been good, but certainly not great under this head coach. And their offensive line struggled a year ago. Are they going to be better to better protect Nussmeier? Texas, I get it. Arch Manning, they lost a lot of talent off that team last year, a lot of it. And I get, he's recruited well. He's a very good coach. Can they just plug people in? But I think that's easier said than done. Miami doesn't have the quarterback. How good's Carson Beck going to be? Is he going to be the Carson Beck of a couple of years ago, or the Beck that kind of threw a lot of interceptions before he got hurt? So, if you look at Florida and ask questions, there's not a team in our league, even the Texases of the world, that you can't say, well, we have a question here and a question there. And part of that is the schedule that a lot of these teams play. Florida's is really brutal, but there's some other teams in our league that have brutal schedules too.
Well, the schedule obviously is a story. There's no doubt about it. Did we lose France? Yes, we did.
And I mean, buddy, Texas, I mean, and I know, maybe you'll call it a homer in the fact that I'm from that state. Ohio State with Matt Patricia, defensive coordinator, I mean, they could literally decimate Texas, or Texas could go in there and beat them by 30. But I mean, defensively, what Ohio State is going to be able to bring at Texas, I mean, it's going to be a physical bloodbath up there in Columbus at 12 o'clock. I mean, it's high noon for real. And I mean, it's so, I mean, just that, like to echo what Steve said, it's like, it's a lot to handle, and it'll be interesting to see even what kind of shape some of these teams, the Texases, when they arrive to the swamp, what is Ole Miss by that time of the year when Florida goes to? Is Florida riding high and Ole Miss is kind of real? And I mean, it's going to be, the fact that the Tennessee game is week 11, I mean, it's just, which is, as a former Florida, guys know too, that game to be that late is a travesty in my opinion, but I digress. And, but it's just, I mean, I think that's one of those things where it's going to be interesting to see. I'm interested to see what happens that first weekend. Even that trip to Clemson, South Carolina for LSU. I mean, very, that could set the tone for a lot, and maybe even that third week for Florida to come into town to LSU.
I think I heard today, Steve and Lauren. By the way, France lost power. I heard that it's the first time ever the number one team in the nation has opened as an underdog in the first game. Texas was an underdog.
Makes sense.
That's
amazing. And what a weekend that's going to be, Steve. I'm having to take a powder on that LIU game and stay home and watch what happens. Because that's going to be unbelievable. What an amazing day of football that's going to be. And I'm looking forward to the excitement. I think, look, we're not even there yet. We're not even there till the 30th of, but the excitement is going to be building off the charts, I think. We're not hearing so much about all the deals going down and all that kind of stuff, We're hearing about what's on the field and what they're going to have, what you bring in, what you're wearing, what you're packing, So anyway, I was going to present this to you tonight. I was hoping friends would be here, but we'll go around him. Jimbo Fisher. Time not so long ago, Jimbo Fisher was the hottest guy on the planet, getting whatever he wanted to go coach at A&M. and now we haven't heard from Jimbo in a while. And you think about his story, the incredible story he had. He coached for Bobby Bowden all those years. There's a wonderful story that he actually told about Bowden. And it seems to me that I don't say that he stabbed him in the back, but it felt like he was a little bit pushy at the end to me over Bowden. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But Jimbo Fisher told the story tonight about the way Bobby took him in. I'm thinking, man, listen to this. He says, I'd been around Bobby. He said, I used to come down and watch practices. I used to come by and stay at his house and watch practices back in the day when I was at Sanford, believe it or not. He let me come. They'd go to bowl games. They'd give me a room. I'd go sit in the back when I was a young OC at Sanford. He'd be at game planning with the staff. They'd treat me like I was their son and family. And a couple of games, I'd sit in the press box and listen to him call games. Just had a headset with no mouthpiece and listen. That's when he called the plays like he did as a head coach. And I just listened to him set things up, structure things. I was very pleased to have that at a young age. I guess so. My word.
Did you see where he now says he wants to get back into coaching?
That's what led me to this whole story.
Yeah.
He said he wants to coach. I mean, he'd be a good pickup for somebody. You know, my gosh. I don't know. I mean, look, the guy didn't become a bad coach. I don't know what happened to him exactly, whether it was arrogance, because he certainly had the team at Florida State. Coached them well.
Let me chime in on that, buddy, because I have firsthand knowledge of this.
Good.
When Jimbo left FSU, this is a direct quote, a conversation, should I say, from somebody on the inside. The parting was not good. Players were running rampant, parking at, just players running wild, no discipline at the end. He chafed administrators because he kept, I want this, I want more, I want this, I want more. And there was no love lost for many when Jimbo Fisher left Florida State. Granted, won a championship there, give him all the credit in the world, goes to A&M, and, I'm not saying the players were undisciplined, but the way he exited certainly, wasn't the best either. So buyer beware. I mean, does he win? Yes, he can certainly recruit, right? But he left two programs in a bad way. And look, maybe he learned his lesson, or maybe he wants a fresh start, all that. I'm always for that, but buyer beware, because I'm a big believer in history. Mm-hmm. And, you can make a mistake once, but history repeated itself twice with him. So buyer beware.
Maybe we're taking a chance on Lauren.
Well, I think I would say this. I think he's resigned himself to, I don't think the big boy job is there for him anymore. And what I mean by that is, I think we now see him kind of finding, and I agree with
mid-major.
Well, not necessarily mid-major, but middle of the table major, like a. I'm trying to think, like
UNLV.
or like somebody in the Big 12. Maybe like I don't know if Leopold would ever leave Kansas and they could bring in a Jimbo, or I'm trying to think who's in the Big 12 now. Cincinnati. I don't know. Cincinnati. He's from West Virginia. There you go.
Okay.
You see, a Tulane, or one of those. I think that's where he is now. I think I agree with was it fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. That's the same thing. It's like buyer beware, like he said. And I think now, because Jimbo, of the way things were at Florida State, that lingers. Obviously, the Texas A&M and just the big money and really getting zero in return. If he was to go back and coach, I think we're looking at, like I said, him at a Cincinnati or a Tulane or one of those type of, or oh, God forbidden Rice or one of the, but you know what I'm saying, like one of those where that he's there, not these big boy, none of these big boy jobs that may or may not come over.
It's funny how coaches suddenly were like spoiled apples. All of a sudden they're not, they're hot and they're ripe and ready to go. And next thing you know, they can't coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that happens exactly. I know it's like golf when you start shanking the ball, I guess. But the bottom line is I don't believe a guy becomes a bad coach. Now, if I'm hiring Jimbo and they've got concerns about discipline, I'd have to have the people on the staff who take care of that, So I would do. It seems like I think he's got a great mind still. I think he knows how to call ball plays. Maybe not as good as he thought he did.
Right.
But I mean,
well, you can get lost in your own sauce. One thing I like about Buddy Martin and Steve Russell is they don't know they're Buddy Martin and Steve Russell. And, so you can start to read your own clippings. It's human. And, you have to give yourself a certain level of, and I think like, at Florida State, it was like he couldn't read the room and he just kept picking and kept picking. And I think he thought, well, I go to Texas A&M, I got everything at my disposal. Well, you forget that you still got to, take care of those 12 Saturdays in the fall, so even if you win in recruiting and those kind of things. And I think that's the, I think that maybe, and I don't know him. I know a couple guys that played for him, but I think that was one of the biggest things. And so, like I said, maybe you got to go and i.e. like a Kiffin, go to a Florida Atlantic and get back to it and reinvent yourself a little bit, rework the formula. And then, maybe there's a job out there for him. But I mean, he didn't forget how to coach and he's forgotten more football than all of us. But you just got to maybe rework, go back and get back in your book and redo your book. Your book doesn't necessarily work everywhere. So you might need to redo your little notebook and fix it a little bit.
Speaking of, you guys book, you guys lights where he's back for the 5 minutes of the show. And I'd rather than go back and talk about what we just discussed, which is whether Jimbo Fisher can, in fact, coach. Let's spend the final 5 minutes on LSU. I know, friends, this is a topic you like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let Steve go first, and then each get a minute and a half. Then Lauren, the friends you top it off with, LSU, buy or don't buy?
But buy for what?
Well, as a contender for a national championship.
I don't buy it. As a matter of fact, they got to be from Missouri. They got to show me. They just do. I mean, look, Nussmeier's the real deal. Really, really good player. But can they block for him? We saw last year lapses on both sides of the ball that were eye-opening to me. Like for a program like that you kind of went, whoa, man, they really blew that assignment. And is that coaching? Is that play? I don't know. But they've got to prove it to me. Do they have talent? Yes. Could they make the playoff? Yes. But I wouldn't bet on them. If I'm going to Vegas, I wouldn't bet LSU right now. And I haven't seen their schedule, but just what my eyeballs tell me, I wouldn't bet on them right now.
Well, friends, they had the best year ever in the history of the portal. They got, some think, the best, most experienced quarterback in the league. They got a bunch of athletes and a coach that says their team is better, friends. Buy or sell?
Sell. The only person that I've seen that has figured out the portal and how to make it work is Lane Kiffin. And he seems to have the magic touch with that. I told somebody earlier today, I said, this, I'm going to sound very sexist here, but it sounds like, do you like your woman with her top side store-bought or homegrown? I take the homegrowns every day, and LSU's got too many store-boughts.
You're right. It was sexist, but it's pretty good for comparison, I will say. Yeah. So I think the big thing is there's something about him. How many games has he lost, friends?
How many? What now? He's 29-11.
Yeah.
At LSU, and that includes 2 years with the best quarterback on the planet since Joe Burrow.
I got you. So now there's something about him. I don't believe him. Am I wrong? I just don't buy into this guy. I don't know why. Everybody says he's a great coach and he's done this, he's done that. Okay. But there's something about him that's just not authentic to me. Maybe it's that fake Southern. I don't know exactly. I don't know.
I mean, he can coach. I mean, let's face it, he can coach. He's pretty much won everywhere he's been. And for lack of a better term, he has won. Does he have the team that can win the national title? I would agree with the rest of these guys. I'm selling. I just don't think they've got enough. I don't, somebody said, heard the other day that Cade Durham could be an all SEC back. I don't think they're good enough up front for that, and so I just don't. And I've heard that, and it was from an LSU press guy, but I just don't see it. I mean, and I guess LSU is just kind of in the same boat everybody else is. They're good. They're not great. The quarterback, I take a lot of stock in what a member of the Meadows family has to say. And my brother, who's pretty learned, the last thing he said to me is, I ain't buying Nussmeier at all. I don't get it. So, somebody who's seen, Justin Fields and different people, CJ Stroud up close and personal, goes to a lot of Ohio State games, seeing good quarterback play, follows things. I just don't see it. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that it's just Kelly can coach. And maybe that's the thing. And for another show is, do you got to win it all to be considered great?
That's a great question.
Do you got to win it all to be considered a great coach, a good, because he is a good coach.
Yes. I'd say yes.
Okay. And I mean, like I said,
Lauren, you win the games you're supposed to win, and he's done that.
Uh-huh.
But the question I'll give you is this. When you got the resources of Notre Dame, I'll throw Steve in this question too. When you got the resources of Notre Dame, my gosh, you ought to be able to fall out of bed and land on your head and still win 9 ball games.
Yeah.
But he never
didn't he do that at Notre Dame when he went to the championship game?
Got blown out both times.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not right, but that's I mean, I think
but
that's
this also back in an era when he only had basically he got appointed to the national championship.
Right, yeah. Game. I mean, they could look at it.
He didn't have to win it in the playoff.
Well, like I said, he's a good coach. I don't know. I mean, like I said, so the question is good coaching. If you're a good coach, I think Brian Kelly is a good coach. I think he's, he thinks a lot of Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly thinks a lot of Brian Kelly. And I know that from going back to his days at Cincinnati. He thinks a lot of, but he had, I mean, Central Michigan, Grand Valley, UC, Cincinnati. I mean, they were a pretty good football team. I mean, they weren't prepared to play an SEC school like Florida, but he had Cincinnati in a good position and going, and then he moved on. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily an indictment on Kelly. It just LSU just doesn't have it. I don't know. I don't think it's anything on him. I just think
we have a consensus here, I believe, at the table. And we got to go, but what a great night it was. Guys, you were awesome. Thank you for hanging in so long, Steve.
Sure.
Thank you for that. And Franz for battling the electricity, and Lauren for getting out of all that food you ate there.
Good seeing you guys tonight. That was, man. It was pretty good food. It was.
It was.
I mean, shout out to Spurriers. Appreciate the invite. I mean, always good to see those legends. I mean, I will say this, people don't realize, I get to see these guys all the time, and I still pinch myself, and I'm not being funny here, but guys like Franz Beard and Steve Russell and Buddy Martin that I watched on the internet, and to know them as people and as friends and as colleagues, but just the amount of wisdom that was in that room tonight is just unbelievable. I was
amazing.
I cannot believe I was that just to be a part of that
is
unbelievable. Well,
you fill in your head too many times when you were an infant if you're putting me in that
but
all right. Well, thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Franz. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate
you guys tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the program tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right, folks, that'll wrap up the show. What a show it was. Wow. Good audience, good show, good content. And I want to tell you now about a good sponsor. Titan MRI and Imaging. They have 3 locations to serve you in Gainesville with Park Avenue and now the Millennium Center, and one in Lake City serving all of Columbia County, and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI Imaging offers the same great customer service as always. They accept insurance, and you can go through their convenient self-pay program options. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds, easy scheduling. If you can't go during the day, you have a job, they'll make a night appointment for you. And they have the larger MRI machines for those of you who get a little claustrophobic, things of that nature, like me, going to that too. They always have the patient in mind first. So check them out. There are several locations now to serve you, soon coming to Marion County, my home. Titan MRI Imaging. You'll be glad you did. Folks, good show tonight. Thank you for our guests, for our friends, for Freddie Wehbe for trying to get in, and all my guys tonight on the panel. Appreciate you, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow night. Actually, Lauren will be on tomorrow night. He and Rob. I'll see you on Wednesday night. Thank you. Good night, folks.